Hello everyone, welcome to the Uncensored Match Build Up. It is Liverpool versus Brentford kicking off in about an hour and 10 minutes. We'll have the official Liverpool team news in about 11 minutes. I'm Steve Hoare, joined as ever by Errol Smith, and over at the board we've got Dan Clubb as well. And Errol, Liverpool, after two rather underwhelming performances, two pretty disappointing results, a chance to put things right against the Brentford side who are in decent form, so it's not going to be easy. How are you feeling going into this one?
Do you know what? I just want to wrap up 3 points. Like at this point in the season now, I know I wouldn't say we're bearing down on the top positions, but the teams above us obviously are a couple points ahead. We want to keep as close to them as possible. The only way to do that is beat the team that's in front of us, Brentford today, and they can get it as far as I'm concerned. They was bested us a couple times last season in terms of the way that they played, the way that they approached the game, and I don't think Liverpool had many answers for how kind of combative he was in terms of up for it. And
especially at their place. I think the two games at Anfield, I mean, it was a 1-0, wasn't it? It was a tight game. Yeah. Is that kind of what you're expecting here? I think Liverpool will win, but I don't think we'll be sat here on 80 minutes comfortable.
Chilling? No, we're not going to be chilling talking about other random affairs that are going on in the world, are we? Like, let's be honest, we are going to be pretty fixated on the way that Liverpool are playing, and understandably so. But I think this Liverpool side have got the ability to hurt them today. I think we've got enough quality. It's just about whether that quality can click. As you said, the last couple of games, the lads up front, which I've boasted about quite a few times this season, having the firepower, haven't really hit the ground running for us. I think they've had a few underwhelming performances, maybe played within themselves, maybe just trying to battle a little bit of form at the minute. Either way, today is an absolutely massive game. It looks like it's going to be absolutely torrential in Liverpool at Anfield this afternoon. The conditions aren't going to be kind to anybody, but we've got to persevere and we've actually got to battle through it all, as far as I'm concerned, because at the end of the day, 3 points now leaves us in a very good situation going into, obviously, when we come back from the international. We know who we're facing as soon as we come back, and if we can win here and win on the other side of that international break, we will be in a very good position going into that Christmas fixture running.
Absolutely. We've got what we think the team is now, so this isn't official, but from what we're hearing, Cody Gakpo is going to be in midfield, so it's looking like it's going to be Alisson, Alexander-Arnold, Matip, Van Dijk, Costas at left back, and midfield three of Endo, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, and then Salah, Nunez, Jota up front. And Dan, I'm going to come over to you, mate. We were speaking this off air. I thought Dan Kennett tweeted this out before, and I thought it was a really good point. Like, last time we played Brentford, Jürgen tried to get as much height in the team as he can, which might explain the Gakpo in midfield thing, because I'm guessing it means Gravenberch isn't fit, whether that means he's on the bench or not, we'll find out in a moment. But the other option was Harvey Elliott, and if you've already got Tsimikas, Salah, Jota, Endo in your team, adding a fifth lad who's probably under 6 footers isn't ideal. It feels like he's gone for the Gakpo with the height.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's done it in the past against Brentford, of course, with Gakpo, and it's two different things, isn't it? It's the height element and the physicality that Brentford definitely will pose as a threat in. Jurgen Klopp himself has been speaking about how dangerous they are from set pieces this week. You mentioned the game at their place last year. They absolutely bullied us. It could have been 2 or 3-0 from set pieces before it actually was eventually. We were miles off it. But yeah, I think the added physicality of Gakpo is an interesting one. I don't love him in there. I don't think he sort of thrives in that position necessarily, but obviously with suspensions and injuries, we're a little bit low on numbers and options anyway. Harvey Elliott's the other one, and also Harvey Elliott, when he started games this season, he hasn't had the best of time. I wouldn't say he's definitely made more of an impact from the bench. He's kind of pigeonholing himself a little bit as that super sub. I think he's more than that, but right now, that's where he feels.
Would you swap them round?
Personally, yeah.
No, I'm talking about Gakpo and Szoboszlai there.
Oh, potentially, yeah. Wasn't that? I literally went him for Elliott.
Okay,
but even in terms of him and Elliott, I would have done. Yeah, I would have gone with Elliott. And I get the set piece thing, I get the height thing, and Gakpo adds that additional height, but he's not a midfielder. We're trying to make Harvey Elliott a midfielder, and yes, you've got to worry about what Brentford possess and the threat they pose. But we're Liverpool at Anfield. Let's just beat them.
Absolutely. First of all, shout out to little Red Aiden. Happy birthday, Aiden.
11, isn't he?
11, yeah. Adam.
Happy birthday.
I think it's our fella said happy birthday, so happy birthday, mate. Hope the Reds can deliver you 3 points. The only interesting one, and I think this comes, Errol, again, maybe it's because they're looking after Diaz and minutes played and stuff, is that once he went Jota on the left, I think he had to go Costas at left back, because we saw it against Luton, the Gomez, Jota, you were just too narrow, and there was just nothing down the left. If Gomez was playing, I think Diaz put the play. I mean, those two as a duo. I think again, we don't know what comes first, chicken or egg. But given the fact that Jota's in good form, so is Diaz. But so it's either or. You can do whatever you want there. But once it's Jota, I think it had to be Costas. Now there's a few people in the comments worried. Mike Tyson, I don't think it's the real one, but if it is, shout out to Iron Mike. Says I'm getting nervous with Tsimikas now. Gomez, from a defensive point of view, has been better. Costas probably offers you more going forward. He should in theory as well. But that is the area, again, especially because Costas had a bit of a stinker in midweek. But the manager, he's done this before. He's hooked people. He hooked Endo at half time. He never really just goes, "You're done." He usually gives them a chance to redeem themselves.
Yeah, they should all get a chance to redeem themselves, because I didn't think anybody particularly performed well on Thursday night, if I'm honest with you. I think it was refreshing that everybody seemed to be dropping stinkers all at the same time. I didn't mind it. Obviously, I didn't love it in any way, shape or form, but I wasn't one of those that was losing my head simply because we didn't, perform on Thursday night. I think, if you've watched Liverpool long enough, it doesn't matter what competition we're in, we're never going to make it easy for ourselves. We're always going to find a way to seemingly make it more difficult to do what other teams would absolutely piss through, the likes of City at times, when see them getting Europa League level competition in the Champions League. They absolutely just destroyed them from the minute go. Liverpool haven't really hit that ruthless streak yet, and I don't think we need to. It would have been nice, but obviously I think the fact that a couple of players played below par the other day, I think it is an opportunity for Klopp to say, right, it wasn't just one or two that I can single out. There was enough of yous. As a result, you need to go again. You need to play better as a team. You need to perform as a team and execute the things we've been working on, because that didn't look like the Liverpool side that we've been seeing all for large parts of this season, as far as I'm concerned.
Adam says, cheers, guys. He says, why do we never change formation, just the players? I think, Dan, that's a training thing. Like, they just don't have time to work on stuff. Like, they played Thursday, flew home, probably recovery Friday, to one session Saturday, and they're playing today. I think if you're going to change formations, you need time. You need a week at least to be able to do it. Would you go? Would that be your answer to Adam's question as well?
Oh, yeah.
See his point, because we've got injuries. We've got injuries, and you've got adding midfielders left. You could go to two midfielders. You could go 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, whatever. It looks like we're going to stick with the same formation. Do you think it is that training thing?
Well, yeah, it has to be, really. Yeah, and this formation now is embedded through the entire club, let alone the first team. Like, the academy sides all play it, so when we've got youngsters coming up into the bench or even into the team, they're used to the way we play as well, which includes Trent inverting. I must say, the right backs or the left backs are inverting in the academy teams, 18s to 21. So it runs throughout, and I don't think, as you say, they barely have time to look at opponents now with this turnaround Thursday to Sunday, let alone start implementing different things in training. Now, all your work really has to be done in pre-season. We've seen a little bit last year, Klopp, when things weren't going well, he changed the formation a little bit, which is kind of when we went to the Trent inverting thing midway through the season. But generally speaking, you're never likely to see that. And I get it, certainly when we've got all these injuries. But I think he'd much rather stick with the same plan, because this is what the lads know. It's ingrained into their system. It's ingrained into their head. Stick with the same plan, just change the personnel a little bit, which means sometimes lads have to go out of position, including Cody Gakpo.
On that, by the way, you need to change your centre-back.
Oh,
it's not even
Joel?
It's Matip.
For Canate?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be fucking horrible if it was Van Dijk, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, he was ill, wasn't he?
Yeah, but no, Matip's playing a centre-back, yeah. It's Trent, Matip, Van... Again, if you worry about the aerial thing, I don't know if that's a better thing, or I don't know who's better in the air, Canate or Matip, probably you, yeah. I think, but I think Matip's actually quite good in here as well. We'll see how it goes. But Victoria says, do you think Van Dijk is playing today? Yes. Ricky? I'm pretty certain he is. The interesting one, Dan, sorry, come back to you, is Trey Nyoni on the bench. Young kid, I know you've been down the academy a few times, but like, it's probably showing that Liverpool do have injuries and there's a young lad on the bench, he's only a kid, but what have you made of him? Tell us a little bit about him for people who might not know much about him.
Oh, he's a player. He is a player. Like, he's confident, he gets on the ball, he plays in the 10 position predominantly. He's only 16 though, so we are talking real young. He signed in the summer from Leicester, and he's hit the ground running, really, in Liverpool shirt. I must admit, it's frightening though, it really is. He, like I say, gets on the ball loads on the half turn, runs at defence, he's scored goals, he's got assists, so he's a real talent, he really is. I mean, massive day for him today, massive credit to him for even getting a place on the bench. He's trained a few times recently with the first team, so with all these injuries and the suspension, it's not a massive surprise to see him make that step up. It would be a shock if we've seen him, don't get me wrong, things would have to be going really well to get Nyoni on the pitch today, but yeah, massively credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll see if he's a 16-year-old kid, he gets on, things are either going really, really right or really, really wrong. They're the only two reasons you're going to see him. But Michael, congratulations to Trey. He's only just signed for Liverpool. Was it from Leicester, I think?
Leicester, he got him in the summer, yeah.
16-year-old kid, and he's already made an impact on getting himself on the first team bench. We're waiting for clarity, by the way. Someone's asked there, Freedom says there's a Gravenberch on the bench. I haven't heard the bench. The 11 that we've got on the board over there, pretty certain is going to be the team by all accounts. We're just waiting for confirmation on the bench in a couple of moments' time. what do you make a Gakpo midfield then? Because if you're Harvey Elliott, you're probably thinking, what the fuck do I have to do?
You've got to be good from the start. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, I'm with Dan on this, to be honest with you, because I said it a few weeks ago. There was a game where he was able to start, and I said, this is a big game for Harvey because, you know, it's an opportunity to show that I can be a little bit more than what, for all intents and purposes, I've had a good start to the season, but all of the starts that I've had have come off the bench, or all the opportunities I've had, I should say, have come off the bench. Whereas the moments and the chances he's had when he started the game, he hasn't done enough. He hasn't offered enough. Again, I've always held reservations over whether he is an out eight for us in that position, and Klopp seems to trust him enough. Team like might be out there. Klopp might trust him enough, which is sound. But for me, I understand why Klopp has put Gakpo on that left side of the midfield. If that's where he's going to put him, I understand it, because I know he's able to be a good conduit, a good link between that midfield and the forward line, which I think is what we need. I know Szoboszlai has been excellent at that for part of us this season, but I just don't know if Elliott, and again, when we're looking at a bench that's potentially weaker anyway, we need people that can impact a game if it's not going our way. Elliott's
not going to be that today,
it's not, but Elliott's proven he can do that and be the difference. If we put him on to start with, do we lose that impact? And that would have been the gamble for me, really. So I'm with Dan and Klopp to say, yeah, Gakpo should be starting.
Liverpool's team is the team we suggested. The bench is a very young bench. We're going to get Joe to bring it up for us now as to go through it. But you got Kelleher, you got Diaz, Elliott, Chambers, Scanlon, Doak, McConnell, Kwanzaa and Yoni. So Gravenberch misses out, Ibu Konate misses out as well. We'll have to try and figure out what's happened to Ibu, but it's a very young bench that Dan I'm looking at now. There's a lot of fresh faces on there, my mate, and if you're looking at game changers from your bench, you've got Luis Diaz, Harvey Elliott, and there's not too much else, not even any kind of Joe Gomez either. No. And maybe and something's gone here where there's a few injuries on the Reds, but like it's a very, very young looking Liverpool bench.
It certainly is. Yeah, the Konate one, obviously we'll wait for some confirmation on what's happened there, and likewise with Joe Gomez, but Konate wasn't involved in midweek, so it's strange that he sat out the entire game on the bench and now can't play. It's very odd, but yeah, this bench is young. It's real young. Like there's some, you mentioned fresh faces. I mean, and Yoni, just look at that. He's a child still. He's 16 years old, and he's very young as a 16-year-old as well. I think he's 17, still in the middle of next
16
summer.
and 4 months. He would be Liverpool's youngest ever Premier League player if he comes.
Will he really would break a record today? Okay, interesting. Yeah, but I mean, Doak, yeah, Luke Chambers, Callum Scanlon, Trey and Yoni, James McConnell, even Jarell Quansah. Like I just missed him out there as one of the young lads, but this is his first time in the first team for sort of a prolonged period. So yeah, I mean, even Harvey Elliott. Wow. A lot of pressure on Luis Diaz there from that bench if we do need a game changer. Harvey Elliott as well, maybe he could come on and sort of influence the game, but we are looking at real inexperience and youth there. So Liverpool, these lads here to the right of me have got a big responsibility to get this game wrapped up and then maybe get a little bit of rest themselves if they want and need it.
We've seen Liverpool win games off the bench. There's not, I mean, to be fair, Diaz and Elliott are good options, but it isn't the strongest of Liverpool benches that we've seen. Though, if you think of who's missing now, McAllister suspended, Gravenberch is injured, Konate, Gomez are all both unavailable as well. So Liverpool are lacking numbers you can talk of there, but
it's the pressure though. It's the pressure that comes with that now for me, because half of me is like, as Klopp, I know obviously you just mentioned of a lot of senior players that are unavailable, but Klopp's went and said, right, well, we'll stack the bench with a load of kids. Those senior players that are going to be starting in that 11 have got to look at themselves and say, well, we can't not perform today. If we don't perform, there isn't anybody. But, apart from Diaz there, maybe Elliott comes on and has an impact in the game, but there's no other players that you're looking over your shoulder, looking onto the bench and thinking they're going to come on in place of me and add something and take the game up a level. So these lads that are going out there today, the Endos, the Simicasses, the Gakpos, the Jotas, even the Salah for me, he's been one that is, you can't stop him. He seems to be inevitable in terms of getting goals and getting involved, but in terms of the overall play and the overall performance, I think he's coasted a little bit. Maybe I don't know if he's trying to save a little bit in the tank. I'm not 100% sure why it seems like he's coasting, but to me, it doesn't seem like he's putting full foot on the pedal. I don't know if it's wised up to the fact that, I've been in the league enough times to know there's no point in running yourself into the ground this side of Christmas. As long as we're in touching distance, hopefully I'll save me energies to when more important games are coming up. But I do think this 11 now needs to put in a good team performance. They need to reassure a few fans more than anything else. Obviously reassure and get the faith of Klopp to understand that, yeah, he can put out an 11 that is capable of seeing out a game. But for me, it is a massive, massive game today for those lads that are starting in places that probably wouldn't normally if the other senior players were there.
Absolutely. We'll just bring you the Brentford line-up very, very quickly. You've got Flecken in goal. There was a doubt about him. He went off injured last week, but he is back fit. You've got Ayer, Collins, Pinnock and Ben Mee. Ruzelev, Norgard, Jensen, Janalt, Mbeumo and Visa up for us. Mbeumo and Visa in particular are the two attacking options. Liverpool's full-backs are going to have to certainly be in the game because Brentford that is their threat. Mbeumo and Visa into out runs. They can both play wide, but they can both get themselves central as well. Costas, we mentioned before, didn't have a great game in midweek. He's going to be targeted. That's Mbeumo's side. Those two are the danger men, aren't they, for Brentford?
Yeah, absolutely. We said that absolutely tore us. And
he's done a couple.
Yeah.
Gaffy scored a few, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Thought so. I know. That's the big one for me, and it's again, how much do we really overload on down the flanks today? How much do we really give license to the likes of Tsimikas, where we know Trent is going to look to invert and kind of add an extra body within that midfield for us? But you mentioned it before, mate, when it was Gomez and Jota. You said it was just too narrow the other day. Between the two of them, there wasn't enough width to be able to be provided in for the team. Everything just kind of came in centrally, and yeah, we could get at Luton, but we never really had anything of any real promise, especially down that left-hand side where you needed an out ball or you just needed to obviously drag them out and pull them apart a little bit. Once they kind of got their head around the fact that everything was going to come through the middle, they become very comfortable very quick. So I think Liverpool mixing it up is the right way to go on the offensive. However, defensively, Tsimikas in the last couple of games has again been a little bit suspect, and I think Trent's been targeted a couple of times in the last couple of games as well. So big performances are needed, but again, I say it for them all. Everyone to a man stunk out the gaff on Thursday night, so I'm expecting everyone to a man to step up today. I don't want any kind of drop off in performance from any of them.
Their team, Dan, if it is what it looks like, especially with Ayer, it looks like Ayer's playing like a left wing back. It's certainly free at the back because it's going to be me, not me. It's going to be Ben Mee, Pinnock and Collins at me. It's not me. Ayer and Ross. It looks like they're playing a back five, but the left wing back is a centre back. It's Chris Ayer.
Is it not Pinnock?
It potentially could be Pinnock.
He's a left-footed one.
Yeah, I suppose it could be Pinnock as well. But either way,
yeah,
it's a centre back as well. It's not a wing back. Whoever it is over there, that's maybe to stop Mo Salah.
Yeah.
So it might be Visa and Mbeumo playing more centrally. I don't know about you, mate, but I think sometimes if that's the situation, where does Trent go? Does he stay at right back? Does he want to rift in? Because if they are playing a back five, you might get a bit more space in midfield. If they've only got a three-man midfield, that's where Liverpool might be able to get some overloads, potentially.
Potentially, yeah. I'll be honest with you, this inverted thing, I like it as a concept, and I think it does work in certain games. I do wonder occasionally recently whether we've gone too all in on it and we've stopped Trent just being a right back. Liverpool had a lot of success, and Trent Alexander-Arnold had frightening success playing as a right back who just bombed on and made things happen from these sort of areas, and he's not doing loads of that anymore. He's doing a lot more of that. And listen, he's a wonderful, wonderful footballer, one of the most technically gifted players I've ever seen play football, let alone for Liverpool. But I do wonder whether we're just not overcomplicating it, but because we've gone all in on this inverted and Trent's going to be alongside Endo or whoever's in the six type thing, I think it works, but I do think there's certain occasions whereby we need to say, okay, you be a right back for half an hour. And we haven't done that enough for me. And Trent's numbers kind of suggest that as well. Like, his assist numbers are way down on what they have been previously.
Do you think with Matip being in there's more opportunity for him to do exactly what you're just saying?
No? I've always been an advocate of Konate being the guy when he's coming in inverted. So potentially, in terms of what Brentford are going to do, again, I think he'll have to sort of assess the game as it's going along, and as will Klopp, as will Linders. And if there is going to be more space in midfield, yes, go and drift in there, but give them more problems and one to think about. If Trent's going in there a lot and it's not working, just come and be a right back for a bit. And I don't think we've been switched on enough to those sort of situations in game. And I think Liverpool, for the most part of the season, have won games of football, and we've been dominant in a few of them. But when it's not going our way, just have more strings to your bow. And with someone like Trent, and with the success we've had in a standard 4-3-3 in the past, we have the ability to go, that's not working, go and do that. And I think we just need to do that. And that could be today, potentially.
Where's Konate, says Daniel? Yeah, well, we don't know. And we're still waiting for confirmation. He's obviously not. Gomez isn't on the squad as well. So Free Django says, why is our bench so thin? That's dead easy to answer. We're listing loads of players who are unavailable for different reasons. Robertson, Gomez, Konate, Thiago, McAllister, Gravenberch, Bajcetic, Jones. There's 8. That's why the bench. You know, eight lads who would be in the squad, probably be in the squad, are out. This is what I'm saying. This is one of those games you mentioned before. This is not going to be easy. I would be shocked if it is. Just like what? Yeah, you just win.
Yeah,
win by like last season in May, maybe beat these 1-0. It was a bit of a non-event game. But you just got to just win.
Just got to win it, and I'd take that. But further to that, just take the easy win, 3 points. Get it over with. I'd also just love to see a boss performance where we absolutely and just boss, even when give to the youngsters on the bench something to look forward to. Say, if we're not going to get a game when the squad's threadbare and we're not in great form because these lads decide to turn up, we're probably never going to get a game, playing for Liverpool in a Premier League side this season. But that's okay because that's what we're aspiring to. It's got to be a lesson for them one way or another. It can't be they can't just feel their way into the game or get gifted an opportunity because the main squad fails to deliver. I feel like it's very important that they do put in some sort of performance today, and a performance that resembles the Liverpool side that we've been seeing for a large part of this season. I take your point. They won't come to make it easy, but I don't want to let them off the hook by just saying, oh, well, we got 3 points, so it's sound. I still want to see a bit of a performance.
I've got a comment here from Nick who says we seem to get more injuries than other teams. What I would say, Nick, if you look over this weekend, everyone's dropping like flies. Tottenham were down to a bit of Tottenham were in the same boat, suspensions and injuries. You saw, Manchester United, they've got like 8 lads out as well. Newcastle,
Arsenal have got a couple at the minute.
This time of the season, City were injured. They feel like they're coming around. I know they're starting to get a few lads back, but they've dealt with injuries and suspensions. It has been relentless, Errol, and it feels like it isn't just a Liverpool thing. This now Liverpool, it's obviously the McAllister suspension that added to this. We saw this with Spurs as well, where they he's going to miss the next game. But they missed Udogie, then they missed Romero the other day. Everyone is running on empty a little bit.
Yeah.
This is where if you're a Brentford, who by the way they've had injuries themselves, their best player can't play his band, but like this is where not being in Europe or whatever sometimes can help. I know Spurs don't play in Europe, but everyone else does. And it feels like a lot of teams are getting stressed a little bit.
To be fair, even Chelsea, not in Europe, but they've got a whole host of injuries as well. So everyone seems to be carrying injuries at the moment. And again, it's down to the fact that these players are playing a lot of football, whether it's club football, whether it's international, whether it's tournaments, whether it's pre-season, friendlies, whatever it might be. There's a lot of football being played in the calendar year consistently, and there's not a lot of breaks for these lads. So eventually injuries, bodies do break down. The intensity, look at the Spurs guy, Ange, has just come in there, Gaffer, and he's mixed it up from the start that he'd been playing for the past 2 years. So of course that was going to catch up with them. Now playing a more high intensity style of football, pressing through, he wants them to press from minute 1 to the minute 90 until the final whistle in some cases. As a result of that, your body is going to take a toll on your body, and they're now starting to see the effects of that. Man U still in a they'll consider a bit of a transition, but again, Ten Hag still trying to implement things. Injuries are a part of that. I don't think anybody can escape that, and it's just about how you manage it. It's about having a squad big enough and having a squad that's got the quality and depth. So for me, the drop off today is just too big, simply too big, because you can use 5 substitutes, and I'd be lying if I said I would want to use more than 2 in this game. If we were struggling, I wouldn't want to go 5, pick 5 of those lads to come on and replace any of those 5 in the 11.
Diaz, Elliott and Kwanzaa are the 3 you'd be comfortable with, wouldn't it?
I think Doak and Chambers have played some footy as well.
They have, I'm not there. They have played, you're right, but they're not. I get those points. But mate, if you take 8 players out of anyone's squad,
the drop-off's going to be used.
Newcastle would have said yesterday they put a lad on up front who never played before, trying to make a goal back.
Wow.
Just them's the break. Sometimes that's where we find to get ourselves at. But everyone's in this position. It's a good time international break. Jimmy makes a good point. It might not be helped by the fact that every game is about 15 minutes longer than it used to be. That could be adding to the injuries. It might not be that might be definitely involved.
It'd be a very good, like obviously it'd be an amazing collection of the 3 points if we did, given all things considered, because that when it's kind of, I don't want to say it's really backs against the walls, but when you are in a bit of a threadbare squad, to be able to see a game out like this, get it over the line, get the job done in a professional manner, like that in itself, deserves a lot of credit. So can't speak too soon because the ball's not even been kicked yet, but there's a lot of pressure riding on the fact that the 11 have got to be the 11. Like, they've got to be the ones that have got to push for it. They can't be sloppy. They can't be... I don't want to see 35 minutes in, getting frustrated and just hoofing balls into the box, hoping for something. We need to be a little bit more calm, with a bit of composure, a little bit calculated, because we can hurt them and we can cut them apart. It's just how we operate in order to do that. And I think that's the big one for me. And I don't think we haven't really touched on it yet. That midfield, again, new faces, working together, playing together for the first time. Seems like that's another thing for Liverpool. It always seems to be us that first time these lads starting in an 11 together and first time for this. But I would just hope that they've trained with each other enough now to understand each other's rhythm and can actually put in a decent shift together.
Just speaking of Innsbruck, I should have mentioned Brighton. They lost Lewis Dunk, Estepinian and Milner on Thursday as well as one. Wow. This European thing, Dan, I'm going to come to you on this last one before we start wrapping up and getting score predictions. It's hard to play at this point of the season when you're just about to go on your break. The game after this fourth European game always feels really difficult. You know, everyone. I know. In the end, United just about got past Luton. You saw Arsenal have some struggles with Burnley. It wasn't convincing for them. You saw Tottenham again. I know they haven't been playing Europe, but they've had massive injuries and they just got beat. This is again Brighton looking at their team, looking at the West Ham team. There's everyone.
Hopefully Chelsea slip. I mean, hopefully City slip up today against Chelsea. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Everyone's in it. Like, this is the one where, like, you know, you talk about character and all that kind of stuff against a good team. Liverpool need to show it, but we've spoken here about what could go wrong. What could go right is Liverpool have got five very good attackers. Yeah. That front five is as good as anything you're going to get, really. With Lewis Diaz not even on the pitch yet. It feels like Liverpool are going at Brentford and going, you know, we're going to fight fire with fire and we're not going to try and win this one. No, we need to try and blast you away. And they've certainly got goals in that team.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way I would have approached it, because the one place he has got his strength today in this squad is in the attacking department. So why not, like, play to your strengths? And absolutely he's done the right thing. And that's what he's done with Gakpo. We mentioned sort of the aerial presence of him earlier on, but he is also another forward player. He's got him in there and said, you know what, you've got goals in you, let's just go and win it. And that would allow us potentially, in sort of the ideal scenario, which I always talk about, to take some players off later on and bring some new faces on if the game is indeed wrapped up. I'm not expecting that, but that would be very nice to be able to do so. But yeah, I think for us today, Klopp would take a huge, immense amount of pride if we can get the 3 points today, because you mentioned all the teams struggling around the league in terms of injuries. Liverpool obviously clearly are not immune to that, far from it. So if we can get the job done, it will be a case of getting the job done today. I think he'll take a lot from this victory, and probably a lot more than we've seen in previous ones, because when you look at what he's got at his disposal today, the real lack of sort of depth he's got, he would be just over the moon to stay within touching distance. And that's what it's all about. Get this one over with, and then we can have this little break, get some lads back, hopefully. I know Gravenberch, he was meant to be sort of 50-50 for today. He's not going away in international duty, so on and so forth. So yeah, massive game for us. Taking on a whole new importance, obviously a couple of dodgy results, and then the squad today. Just get the 3 points, and I think we'll all be very happy.
On that, then I'm going to ask you guys a couple of score predictions. Some of our lovely viewers have already sent theirs in. If France says I'm going to go for a 3-0 win with the Darwin Núñez masterclass, I hope you're right. Damon's gone 3-0 as well, which is a bit more confident than I've been. LJC's prediction is that Darwin will score, but we'll also miss a sitter. I reckon you get good odds on that, actually. I think you get bad odds. I think a lot of people do that one. Ben's gone for a 1-0. Paul's gone for a 2-0. You've got 2-0s from GC. Dara has gone for a 2-1. Mudian's gone for a 1-1. I hope you're wrong. Dan?
Yeah. Big players step up today. Mohamed Salah, Dom Szoboszlai, 2-0 Liverpool.
Ooh.
Okay, I don't mind it.
Our kid said 3-1 to me before I left the house. Before he said 3-1. I don't know though. I think, do you know what? Christine's going to be right today. She said 3-2. I reckon it's going to be...
Liam here, she's gone 3-2 as well.
I think it's going to... And I said it's not going to be the type of game that I want to be watching on a live stream at 3-2 today, unless we absolutely blitzed him in the second half and just, you know, it's a close one. But yeah, 3-2.
I said 2-1 on the build-up, and I'm going to stick with it. And again, I don't think it's going to be a comfortable game. I'd back Liverpool to beat anyone at home, and the firepower suggests we can. But these are I respect Thomas Frank and Brentford.
Yeah,
they're
he's
good.
A good manager.
They're good. They break a game down to like set plays and styles, and they know exactly what to do, and they're very well coached. They've had a week to work on Liverpool.
That's the advantage for all these teams as well at the minute, and I think that's a very good point that not a lot of people are picking up on. All the other teams outside of Europe get that full week to just... You could see that in the Luton game. That lad had been... Their manager had been practicing that for weeks and weeks. Like, fuck all the other results. We're going to be playing Liverpool in a couple of weeks, and this is how I want you to play from now in training, and eventually they was close to getting the rewards for that. But I think that's a very good point.
I mean, we've played twice since they last played. You know what I mean? They beat West Ham in a 3-2 on last Saturday. We've played twice since then, so they've had longer. They've had 8 days to prepare for this. So I've got to respect that. I'm just backing out.
And the professional footballers, the professional footy players, so you give them 8 days head start on your opponent. There is a psychological and a physical edge that you feel you've got going into that game. So I think that's a very good point, to be honest.
Motor Ali, it was a very good question. Says Errol, which country are you watching the game from today? Errol, tell the man where we've flown to today.
We have flown to today Lanzarote.
Oh, Lanzarote. No, that's why I'm in a hoodie. It's even called. It's even called.
Over here today, innit?
Errol sunburned. That's why he's got the do-rag on today.
Yeah, take it off. I forgot that we was live. I was like, oh.
It looks like that.
Yeah, it does. It has its moments. It has its place in life.
You're gonna leave it on for the show? Or
no, I'm gonna take it off.
Oh no.
My braids look all half decent still, so.
Yeah, we're in Lanzarote where apparently they show the game on TV over it.
They do.
We should have just went to Spain, it's closer. But listen, it's fun, it's nice, it's all well and good. So yeah, thanks very much. Speaking of which, we will be back for the watch along at 1:45, wherever you are. So yeah, in about, 25 or so minutes time. So come and check us out there. We'll bring you completely biased coverage of Liverpool versus Brentford, live commentary and all that good stuff. So for those of you who are in the UK, sorry about the weather there for you guys. You can't watch it live. Of course, we can guide you through the entire game, as it's not for some, again, the antiquated laws of British football. It's not allowed to be shown on TV, which is bananas in itself. But yeah, come and join us for the watch along in about 25 minutes time. See you all then.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a Legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, Legend tier status.